This podcast is brought to you by self-love, because self-love will always be the greatest revolution. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Today's episode on the Overcoming series is a special one yet again. As I always say, we are talking about overcoming an abusive relationship. Now, we know that the country is currently really under attack with the gender-based violence and the number of abuse that is taking place in relationships and women that are not surviving this. And it's just such an amazing honor to have a woman today who chose herself, who chose life, and decided to leave and decided to live. So before we get carried away, before I get started, let me introduce my guest. Hello.
Listen to you. Hello, Miss Rosie.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good. I'm going to let you do a intro. It doesn't have to be short. You can do an intro on yourself, a little bio.
Imagine, do I even have a bio? I'm so simple. Okay, I am Matari Makatu. I'm 33 years old from Mamelodi, Pretoria. Currently residing in Joburg. Proud and happy mother of a baby 8-year-old.
Nice.
Like, that just sums up the best part of my life.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do for a living?
I am in the corporate social responsibility space, which is kind of like an oxymoron considering the topic today. But yeah, I help other people.
Oh, look at that. But you know what? We're here because you at some point decided to help yourself.
Amen to that.
Yeah, so we're gonna unpack that. We're going to unpack it.
Am I that soft?
But you know what? We're here because you at some point. Mic 3. Mic 3. Mic 3. Mic 1, mic 2. Mic 3, mic 4. Yeah, it's just a little bit soft, but it's fine. Just gonna turn it up. Thank you, Matari. And you know, before we really dive in, I want to salute you. I mean, first of all, for walking away and making the decisions that were so tough and sometimes for some women seem impossible. And most of all, thank you for coming through to share the story, because I know that, you know, something like this is something that's so tough and difficult to talk about and to unpack. And you know, there's no really soft way to kind of get into it. I feel like we just need to dive right in. So I think let's talk about the relationship. How did you guys meet? How did you guys start off? What was the relationship like in the beginning?
So this for me is always such a hard thing to talk about. Just like you said, mainly because unpacking it. I mean, even now that I've left, I'm still unpacking it.
Yeah.
But typical story, boy meets girl, boy and girl are flirting, it's all sweet, everybody's put their best foot forward.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's charming, everybody is driven, and you're like, okay, our goals align here, you know, and something can happen here.
Yeah.
So those first few years were, in my mind, very beautiful.
Okay.
Little did I know, like in hindsight, I do not think that my partner was ever actually faithful to me.
Okay. You mean like even like from the very
from
beginning?
the gate, like because now it's over and we've had conversations. If I'm looking back, there wasn't a single year in a relationship where he was faithful to me. Wow. Yes, there were months, but I don't think there was a 12-month period where he was ever faithful to me. So I loved the guy, man. I love that guy. I loved him. I think the problem is I loved him more than I loved myself.
Right.
And I saw somebody that needed me.
Yeah.
Somebody that held me up,
Yeah.
and I could hold him up. And in all that, I was like, okay, I'm helping somebody, and then we're gonna
You're
grow old
building-
together. You know, I am
building
building the man
empire.
that I want here, you know.
Yeah.
And then we'll have that family, and then it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, I have that story to tell, I guess, the narrative that we see on The Bold and the Beautiful,
Right.
except not Brooke Logan, but the
Yeah.
other nice one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was, in all honesty, he was very intelligent. I found him very charming. I found him very persuasive, and I liked that.
Yeah.
He knew what he wanted, and he went for it. He could walk into a room and walk out with $1 million.
Wow.
On a good day, if he
Yeah.
was like driven and focused,
Yeah.
that was my man.
Yeah.
So yeah, our relationship was awesome.
So let's talk about the signs, because I feel like in most relationships and situations even, there are always signs. Those that we see, those that we don't see, and especially those that we overlook. So let's talk about some of the beginning signs, or the signs in the beginning rather, that were kind of indicating that this may not be the healthiest space to be in.
Honestly, Rose, I'm still unpacking that,
Yeah.
right? So I guess for me, the first time that I'd say I should have walked away
Yeah.
was he was cheating on me.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, okay, two can play that game.
Oh.
You cheat, I will show you.
Yeah.
I will cheat on you, and it will hurt you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found myself a little somebody on the
Yeah.
side, flirted with him, did the things, and deliberately so, because
Yeah.
I wanted him to feel the pain that I felt, right?
Yeah.
And he slapped me,
Mm.
and I should have walked away, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, but okay, Nami, though, this silly game
I
that I
think
play, yeah.
then it means, because in your head you were like, no, I have achieved what I wanted to achieve,
Exactly.
because I
You're not going
made
to do
him
it
feel-
again. You're not going to do it again. You felt the pain that I felt, knowing that I'm not giving you my full attention.
Yeah.
So now that you've heard and I've heard, minus plus minus makes positive. Let's move on together. You know.
And then how does it escalate from that first one slap? How does it then start to escalate?
It in the immediate sense, it's all beautiful, because he slaps you, he sees you cry, and he sees you in pain, and he's the one to heal you. He's the one to wipe away the tears, to give you the ice pack so your eye doesn't swell and the world doesn't see all of this. And also myself, because I had so much pride, I was never going to step out and say, look what he did to me.
Yeah.
So that first initial slap, saw myself, okay, my eyes are a little red. Okay, I'm not leaving this place, because now everybody's going to see me red.
Right.
So I
you
slept.
stayed.
I stayed there. And me staying, so the next day now, it's over. You know, it's,
So you're fine
let's
now.
move on, baby. I'm fine. And the escalation of it came from my point of view, the mere fact that you let me get away with it once,
Yeah.
I can get away with it again.
Yeah.
And from that physical abuse, it turned to emotional stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's one of the reasons I still have a problem with putting on makeup.
Yeah.
Because whenever I have makeup on, he's like, you look so ugly. Don't do that. What's some makeup?
Really?
You look, no, wipe that stuff off your face. What's happening? And then in my mind, I'm like, how? But I must wipe that stuff on my face, but you're cheating on me with girls with
Beaten
like
faces.
face beats. And I'm like, okay, maybe I do look ugly. Like, maybe.
And then you start to pull.
You start to pull away. So, you know, when a person removes you so much from other people, I had friends, like, you were my friend, you know, who were like, Matari, look at you. And because of my pride, and because I'm ashamed, and because I've heard this guy's life story, I'm like, okay, let's resolve his issues, and then he'll never do this again.
Yeah.
And because now I have alienated so much of my circle of my friends who've already tried to help me out of this,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's up to me. I have to stay, or I have to fix this for myself. So he beats you once, the next day you're too ugly in that dress, why are you wearing this, you're too skinny, you're too fat, and I mean, I'm skinny, you know. So
I wish people knew how tiny you were.
so from all those discussions to, you're still cheating on me, I find out that you're cheating on me, I'm saying I'm leaving you, and you beat me to submission. Oh my gosh, there was days where I'd find him cheating, or I'd find out that he's cheating. I'm like, this is over.
Yeah.
And the conversation, like, you are not leaving me. Where do you think you're going? And because
And
Nami,
let's talk about, and I know you were probably going into that, but let's talk about sort of your mental health state in that moment, because to the naked eye, to you, it's blatantly clear that you cannot stay in that situation, but you still stay.
that's why I say I didn't love myself enough, and I didn't have that confidence and that strength in myself to be like, I'm going to leave and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because you beat me, and I mean, as much as everybody tells you leave, there are times where you are beaten to the point that you're on the floor, you can't even move, and people are like, why did you leave? How am I going to leave, guys? I can't even move my foot, yo. And I can't now pick up the phone and be like, Rose, come help me because my phone is shattered on the floor, or my phone, he took my phone, so I'm stuck.
And in some of those instances, is there still pride in you? Is there still something that's saying, hey, Matari, don't worry, this can be fixed?
Fixed in terms of me and him,
yeah,
the relationship.
Him and you, or him maybe, so that for him to stop doing this.
I for the longest time, and I will be honest, to today, I still have the utmost faith in him that if he wants to, he can fix himself.
He can fix himself.
And it's a thing that I loved him so much that in my mind, you already formulate a picture of the person that you want to be with, that you stop actually seeing the person that you're with.
So the thing about it is that we are constantly seeing people, or seeing the potential of people.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it's a really, really bad thing.
It's a really, really
because
bad
you
thing.
are seeing him as the perfect husband, the perfect father, the perfect provider, and what he actually is nowhere near that.
Nowhere near it.
So now let's talk about your support structure. You mentioned me, us, my friends, our friends. What about the support structure made you so fearful that you continue to isolate yourself? Do you think that there's a certain explanation to it as to why you pull yourself away from people that are supporting you?
For me, I've always said like Matari is sometimes so split. In my professional sense, I come across very strong, very persuasive, like stand my ground,
very put together.
Yeah, I'm like, you can't even mess with me, right? And then I'd walk into my home and it was a totally different person, as I was so small. I felt so small, and all my friends know me as I'm lively, I'm all this. So how do I now come to people who I can talk to with such confidence and then come back and say, guys, I am falling apart? That also feeds into the pride aspect of me. I never wanted people to see me falling apart.
Wow. And I think they've, and by they I mean the partners, they render you so powerless. They take away your power, so much so that they take away not only your power, but also your power source. Because, stripping you of people that are supporting you and, your family and your kids maybe, pulling you away from those people is really unplugging you at the main switch, basically dropping the main switch. And it takes so much to get yourself out of that space, to find a way out. Let's talk about the constant forgiving. I mean, I think, can you even count the number of times that
1, 2, 3, 4, 50, 100,000?
Because I think that, it's that constant forgiving that loops women back into that space. I briefly experienced it, and as a third party, as in my mother was in an abusive relationship, and constantly forgiving this guy was probably the one thing that puzzled me. I couldn't, in as much as I thought, okay, I can see maybe we're staying, but why are we not angry at this person? How can we continuously forgive the person? What does it take, or what did it take for you to constantly forgive this person?
So I think that goes back to you saying being removed from your power switch. My power switch was my mother.
Yeah.
And because of, oh, now you're gonna make me cry, girl. Because of that, of the relationship I was in. And you know, being a child and your mom telling you this relationship is not good for you, get out. And like, you don't know, I love this person.
Yeah.
She herself got to a point where do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So as soon as my mom got to that point, that was by then where the abuse had escalated to extremes, where the only people I could talk to were my friends, and the only people that saw were my colleagues, because I stopped going home. So I was so disconnected from my source of strength that I found it so easy. I'm like, this is all I have left.
Yeah.
So this is what I need to make work.
So he's then now created himself as the power source.
He is the power. The power is with him, and it's the power that I had given him.
Yeah.
Because as much as every other day I'd still go home and engage with my family, I was like, you know what, I've disappointed my parents so much that I'm not going to tell them that this man is beating me up. I'm not going to tell them that this man in the middle of the night when I'm sleeping steals my phone, goes into my banking apps and steals my money. I'm not going to tell them that he would take my car to go see his girlfriends, because this is not who we raised, Matai.
Yeah.
Why have you become this
person?
Why do you find it okay for somebody to treat you like this?
I find it so interesting that I feel like even in those moments, and I know now obviously we're talking in hindsight, but I feel like even in those moments, the decision to not tell your family because of knowing who they raised.
I'm still protecting him. I'm protecting him.
You are still not being that person. You are still stripping yourself of power and choosing to present this person that he has created, this meek and mild and reliant and dependent on him. You are still constantly protecting him. To just get a little bit hectic for a moment, let's talk about the most humiliating of the incidences.
Just one? Are you sure?
Just for a moment. I mean, I feel like the whole thing, and you know, we laugh, but you know, the whole thing, the whole experience is the humiliation. You know, it takes away your dignity, your humanity almost. You're stripped of all your rights, and you become a thing that can literally be kicked around. But let's talk about it doesn't have to be one, some of the most humiliating things that probably when you look back, and things that you would rather have out in the open, that people don't ever find themselves in this kind of situation.
I've been humiliated so much. To pick one, your Rose, there was a instance where he beat me, and there was, because of the person that I am professionally, I was like, okay, I've got a cut on my face, but I'm going to work, yo. And I have to rock up and work.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to come up with a lie.
Yeah.
I'm not now going to go and be like, my boyfriend hit me, because then it's, you need to go to the police station, you need to get him arrested, and I'm like, I don't
therapy.
Oh my gosh, and therapy.
And
then diving deep is like, what's your root cause? I hated those questions.
How long has it been?
How long has it been? They drove me insane, those questions. So I went to work. They're like, oh, what happened to your face? I was like, yes, you know, these taxi drivers hit another car and I banged my head.
Really?
I lied. And I still carry the scar. That was my story. Now the truth is that my man beat me up about the scar. And there was a time where I had come back from a work trip, and I found out that during that time where I was gone, he had one of his girlfriends over. And I was like, I am done for I don't know, maybe the 100th time.
Yeah.
I am done. The guy beat me up so bad that, because we lived in a complex type of situation, we had this old lady, not old, but older female, saying, Panavaga, this is not how we do things.
Yeah.
And I had to run to a friend's house as bruised as I was, spend the night there, and the next morning still come back to wipe my blood off the floor. And I couldn't go home. What am I going to tell my mother?
Because
The
now
worker
you're
did blue
bruised
eye,
and
and
battered.
now I have to explain to my mother that actually this is not the first time I've been beat. I've been beat so many times. Yo, there was another time, came back from a work event. This also feeds into them removing you
Yeah.
from your circle.
Yeah.
Because I've always had friends and I've always been a talker.
Yeah.
And I mean, nobody who wants that much control over your life loves it when you air out their dirty laundry.
Right.
So I had a guy friend and I was telling him that, yo, you know, this guy is doing this. And back then technology was very bad. I don't know if he had hacked my phone or if he went through my phone. So he saw this conversation.
Yeah.
And that day he said to me, you're not going to this work thing. I'm like, it's work.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the one place where I have control and this is the one place where I'm gangster. I'm going to work.
Yeah.
You know, so I left with him huffing and puffing. I'm like, you'll sort yourself out. And you know, that whole time I knew that what was waiting for me is a mess. But I'm at work.
And you still go back.
Rose, I was honestly so empty. I spent so much for so many years not feeling anything.
Yeah.
I was on auto drive for so long.
Yeah.
You wake up, you go to work, you do what you need to do, you go home, you cook, you whatever, you hear the insults, you sleep. Like I was
just
switched
roll
off.
to the next day.
You
just become a zombie.
I became a zombie. I was numb to the world. I was numb to everything because all everybody was telling me was, it's easy, leave him. And it's not easy. How am I going to leave him when I am empty?
Yeah.
How am I going to leave? Yes, I'm being fueled, or my cup is being filled with negative things, but that's the only thing filling me up right now.
Yeah.
Except that and my work accomplishments, that is all that's filling me up. So what must I do?
What can I do?
I was like, you asking, why did you forgive so many times? I forgave because I believed if I can get him to love me the way he loved me before. I mean, we started off great.
Yeah.
So probably I did something wrong. So let me maybe then stop talking to Rose, because Rose is a bad influence. She's always telling me to leave me. So stop talking to Rose. Okay, I'll stop talking to Rose. Cool. Are you happy now? Okay, you're happy for a week.
Then
and then,
happy for
you know, then he meets a Palesa. Now all of a sudden, I'm like, how? What's making Palesa better than me? I mean, okay, no. It's because you're always more focused on work than you are on me. Oh, okay, then I'm going to make time for you. Then I stop going home so that I can make time for him.
Yeah.
Or it's a matter of, yeah, you think you're better now because you were able to buy a car before I bought a car, or there are rules to when I can drive your car. What, you know, so you become so meek. And I will just say that I think maybe that's also another thing that led me into the field that I am.
Yeah.
I had no self-value at all. So it took me a very long duration of that relationship to develop it.
Yeah. To get back to that.
Get back. And I'm not even back there, hey? I'm not even back there.
Well, and because, you know, the nice thing about overcoming is that it's a journey. And, you know, you don't just decide to overcome today and then tomorrow you have overcame. It's constantly, it's opening up, it's sharing, and it's unpacking. Because the thing about these kind of experiences is that they happen over such a long period. How long were you guys together for?
9 years.
So you have 9 years worth of all of this.
Of baggage.
So and it comes in bits and in pieces, you know. Every now and then you remember, and now you talk about an instance, it takes you back there, and now you have to work through those sort of emotions.
Yeah.
What do you think, just in your eyes, as you, do you think as a support structure there was more that they could have done?
No.
Why?
As much as all your support structure can do is be there when you need to cry, be there when you need to listen, provide you with safety when you need it, give their advice.
Because you're still in the same mindset, you're going to go back.
And sometimes you're not even willing to hear it. You know, I had so many instances where friends were like, leave. And my answer was, okay, I'm going to leave, then I'm going to go away. We're like, no, you can go home. Okay, I go home and I tell my mother this happened. Then what? Then what? Okay, I leave him. Can I come stay with you? Or must I go to a shelter now? Leave and what?
Yeah.
And it's not up to other people to answer that for me. It was something that I had to discover for myself that, you know what, after everything, you can stand on your own. And I think another aspect of the relationship is those first few years, it was just me and him. And it was easier to leave. Then I got pregnant and I had a child by this man. And I was like,
so now you feel bound.
Yes, I don't want my child to grow up in a broken family. So, you know what, let me try to make this work. Like, my baby, what am I going to tell my baby? And it's a boy. I'm like, okay. Then for me, I think when my child was born, that was mainly when my mind started shifting as to he's very young right now. He doesn't understand what's happening. He's going to grow up. And then I'm going to be in a house with his father. He's beating me up and doing all these things. Is that what I want my child to see? And as the older my child got, the more I realized, oh no, it's not gonna happen. So that also gave me the strength to, like, I'm not only living for me, I'm living for my child as well. So that is the one absolute lovely blessing that I'll always be thankful for from that man, because he allowed me to find myself. And it's such pressure to put on my child, but in all honesty, my child allowed me to find my voice.
So, you know, we're jumping into that now. Let's talk about the journey and sort of the decision to leave. What was it that made you say, this is it?
So you beat me up for 3 years. You are stealing my money. You're going to your girlfriends with my money, with my car. I'm now isolated. We have a child together. Yes, family dynamics aside, his family, my family. I mean, nobody's innocent in the situation, but family dynamics aside, you are not present for your child. You are still not present for me. So what am I still doing here? Thirdly, he infected me with HIV after the child. So the child made no change in your life. Having somebody who eventually is going to look up to you and say, Daddy, tell me about you, help me grow as a man, did nothing for you. So, yeah, you need to go back to the question because I'm about to get very deep on you.
What was it that when you finally said, this is it? Because, I mean, all of this is sort of the conversation and the rationale that you put in together in your mind for yourself, by the way, because you need to convince yourself that, you know, I'm doing this. What was it? Was it an incident? Was it a moment? Was it all of that sort of culminating together that finally had you make the decision to get out?
It was all of it. Because, Rose, there were instances where we'd get into the car and he'd say, okay, you don't want to be with me anymore. We're both gonna die. And I'm like, but think about your child. We can't die. We have a child. Can you just, and you're begging this person, you know, and where you're like to this person, let's go get therapy, and he's not interested. Instances where I'm like I said, my child got older and older, and as much as my child is living with my mother, it's whenever I saw him, I'd be like, I have to tell you my story one day. I have to explain to my child that I'm HIV positive. I got it from your father. And sit and be adult enough to sit with his father, removing us from the situation and understanding that we're having a conversation for this child and for this child's growth and development. And I had to sit back and be like, Matari, what do you want? What I wanted was to be there for my child. What I wanted was for my child to understand that he in himself alone is good enough. He is a wonderful being, regardless of the stories that he'd eventually hear about his mother, the stories that eventually hear about his father, those don't define him. So how am I going to build him if I'm broken?
So you have to start with you.
I had to start with me. I had to start with me. And as hard and as painful as it was to go back to my broken relationships, my mother, my sister, and my father, and be like, I am so sorry for being a child who thought I was adult enough to make such decisions and not listening to you. I am so sorry. These are my mistakes. I need help. You know how hard it is to say I need help? Sure, that was so difficult for me. I mean, I sat through instances. I remember, firstly, I know I was grown, I was 25. I had to tell my parents that I'm pregnant. As much as I was grown and I was working, you know that thing that you fall pregnant when you are married. I was unmarried. And I was with this boy that they really don't like.
They don't like him.
So I'm like, I'm having a child with him, whether you want it or not. And he's going to be a father. Hey! And here I am praising and convincing my family just for him not to do it. And then I have to go back and say, Mama, sorry. And
for that same person
for the same
that
person.
They could easily say, we told you.
Trust me, I heard the we told yous, but because it's my mother, she has to protect me.
And unfortunately, there are those we told you souls and I told you souls that we need to hear, that we really need to hear, because we find ourselves in these kind of situations and we're blind, right? Because when you're looking at something from inside of it, you don't know. And I think I feel like if I had come to you at any point during that relationship and told you that I was in an abusive situation, you would have easily kicked my butt until I left that guy.
I would have.
But would have still
stayed in my own. And you know me, I would have even gone to that guy and beat him up. But I never allowed you to do that to my guy.
To your guy.
Because
constantly protecting him.
Why? In hindsight, honestly, I've always been like, he can do better. He will be better. He wants to be better. I've always tried to make him see how much better he can be, how awesome he can be. And I will still say, I still believe in him.
And that's fine. I think we all believe in them, because we do believe that they are just one decision away. Even in the situations where women are getting killed, he's just one moment from telling himself that I don't have to do this.
But let me clarify, I don't believe in him for the sake of me and him.
Of course.
I believe in him for the fact that he has a child who one day will have to stand and look at him. I am so protective over my child's innocence and the influences that he sees, that it would break my heart if I go and I tell my child the story one day and he's not seeing a difference. I have still a fear of how that's going to affect my child.
And I think our parents and our sisters and our friends continuously, it's that protecting of that image. And more than wishing that this person can change, it really is just protecting that image, because you don't want the kid to see an animal. You don't want the kid to see a monster. You still want the kid to see a father. You still want a kid to see a person that they can look up to, and a person that they can trust, and a person that they can love and that they can respect. But it really is with them.
True.
So now you've left.
I'm out.
You've completely detached. And I feel like there should be some sort of celebrations.
Can I tell you how I got out?
Tell me.
Can I tell you how I got out? So there was a situation where, yet again, he cheated. And I was like, oh, okay. I see you. I packed my bags, not even my bags. took my clothes, put them in the car, called my mom, and I lied, said, Mama,
Yeah.
I need to come back home, need to regroup. I can't afford rent, I can't afford life, I just need my mother.
Yeah.
It's like, Matari, but you're going to be driving from Pretoria. I'm like, I will how train it if you're worried about my safety, but I need to come home.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell him this. I literally just left. And it came to me like, why am I still the one that's leaving? He should be the one that's leaving.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? So I called the landlords, called everybody. I'm like, look, I've got a situation. And I know if I now confront this person alone, it could probably go bad.
Yeah.
So I meet him out. And I was like, yes, I am there. Okay, call ADT, whatnot. You will. I rocked up, and he had sent me a message actually. I miss you. I want to see you. We can fix this. Didn't respond. I pitched up at the house behind the security.
Of course.
And it was like, sorry, sir, but you need to go. He couldn't believe it. You doing this, like, we've been through this so much. You
so
leave,
many times.
you come back.
Yeah, what are you
Like,
doing?
what are you doing? What's this? I'm like, please leave. And I found it so hurtful in that instance because all he said was, but I helped you pay rent. I'm like, bye.
So let's talk about the punches and the kicks.
Like, were you paying for all of this reconstruction surgery you were doing on my body? And I was like, you helped me do what? I helped you pay rent. I'm sure he said a whole lot more, but that's what stuck with me.
Yeah.
So it's like, if it's the money that you're talking about, Papa, e-wallet, FNB, let's
money you now.
You want your money?
Yeah.
There you go. Because that's all you want. And you're like, yeah, no, but I was with you when buying the washing machine, the bed. I'm like, black bag, whatever you want in the space,
Take it.
please take it.
I think definitely it was disbelief, right? Because what abusers do is that they manipulate you, right? And they put you in this, because you said they're very persuasive.
Very.
More than persuasion, it's manipulation. And so they put you in this space where they know that you are completely dependent on them, and no matter what they do to you, that you will stay, you will come back, you will forgive. What would you say to women who are in a similar situation or the same?
I'm sorry. And I know it hurts. I know you wake up at night crying, sleeping right next to the person who's making you cry. I know you pray to God for help. You pray to God for strength. You pray to God for forgiveness, and you feel it's not coming. But never let the light on yourself get diminished. As long as you are still breathing, as long as you still have the strength to say, God, I am here. God, this is not enough. God, I know my life is meant for way more than all of this. There is still hope. I would also say to them, yes, there are people telling you, get out. There are people who have given up on you. There are people that you want to call to come help you because you're battered and black and bruised, but you're too ashamed to do that. Call them, go, because your friends and your family, as much as certain behaviors that we do disappoint them, they will always love you, they will always support you, and they will always help build you up. So I'm sorry that you feel so small. I'm sorry that there is somebody who's looking at you and does not see your shine. It's not up to them to see your shine. Pray to see your own shine. Pray to see your own glow up. Pray to see your own success. And when it comes, it will be the most beautiful thing that you have ever experienced, the most exhilarating feeling of freedom that you can ever experience.
Thank you for choosing you. Thank you for choosing your son. And thank you for choosing your life.
And may I say thank you for always being there, even when I was stubborn, even when I couldn't hear what you were saying. Thank you for always keeping me in your prayers. Thank you for always keeping me in your thoughts. And when I was shutting you out, there was a point I didn't speak to you for like 2 years, I think.
2 years.
For that period of time, thank you for calling people that you knew were around me and making sure that they check in on me. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out alive today. Thank you for choosing life. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for opening up. Thank you for unpacking. The aim of this episode is not to break hearts and not to make anybody sad, but it is really to shine a light where it is dark, because there will always be light. Thank you so much for listening, and I just really hope that this does reach whoever that it needs to reach. Remember, strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming the things that you thought that you couldn't do. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. This podcast was brought to you with self-love, because self-love will always be the greatest revolution.